Welcome back to BackTracks. Today we are doing a roundtable conversation with the Wi-Fi Money Wealth Gang. I'm here with three absolute legends and icons in the Wi-Fi money industry. We've got Mr. Hunter Hewitt, we've got Casey Woodard, and we've got Alex Heiden at the end. We've got an absolutely insane lineup for you guys today. This is no schedule, no agenda. We're just going to rip a conversation and see where it goes. First and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our sponsor, WAP HQ. Shout out to WAP for bringing us out, flying us all out to New York to host us in this amazing office and give us all the equipment we need to shoot today's podcast. So without further ado, let's get into the show. All right, boys, how we doing? How are we feeling on New York?
It's been fun. Living the dream.
It's been growing on me.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Are we going out tonight or what? Alex doesn't want to go on camera.
Possibly.
Like, not on record, no. We'll make it happen. Boys, what's been your biggest takeaway so far from the WAP trip?
Man, it's I think it's cool that WAP puts us all together and they see the importance of seeing like-minded people around each other. And I think that's probably like the biggest takeaway is like, this is the biggest group WAP's ever brought to New York. We have like 20 or 30 guys out here that are all making money online. And I think it's cool that we get to network with these people. And that's probably the biggest takeaway is we get to just hang out, meet friends, meet people that are like-minded. It's not very common that we get to like meet these people in person all the time. It's over Discord, over text, over call.
Yeah, just the power of networking with other people who have other offers. Like we're all in different spaces on here, but we're all basically running a lot of the same plays. And how much each of the stuff that we're doing kind of corresponds to each other's. Now we can just take things away from each other's offers, each other's businesses, and apply them to ours.
Yeah, it's kind of exactly what I was going to say. It's like I've only been here for, like a day, and it's like I've learned so much from so many different people that are in completely different industries. But again, there's a lot of like crossover of things that they're doing that I'm like, oh shoot, like I could implement this here. And then, vice versa. And so it's been really interesting to hear like other people's perspectives that are in different industries.
I think it's been powerful for me to your point of like seeing how other people move in different industries, but also like to your point of this Wi-Fi money space, I feel like a lot of the time it's easy to feel alone or isolated. Like it's just like your laptop, your phone, you're ripping your own thing, your own content. So at least for me, it's been really dope to see, 30 different people from different countries, different states, different industries, all come together and actually share a lot of similar mindsets, mentality, like sharing sauce with each other. It's been super powerful.
I think something that like I've personally encountered is like when you're starting, it's so lonely. It's no matter where you're at, no matter like what city you're in, everyone kind of deals with that lonely stage of business. And like, I don't know, have y'all encountered the same thing where like when y'all were starting, it was like, you don't know who to talk to about the problems. You don't know who you go to, like, to solve this one issue. And WAP's kind of like helping us solve that issue, obviously. Like, as you get further along the road, you have a bigger network.
Yeah. And I think that just comes with the territory. Like, I'm guessing I can speak for all of us when I'd say, like, the network now that we're doing cool stuff is way easier than, like, you have to show a lot of effort, and people are only going to help you if they see you already working on something cool and they want to come alongside and help you instead of you just getting dropped into that, where the bigger we scale and the bigger we build, the more, like, the players in the space want to talk. And I think that just comes with the journey.
Boys, the theme of, going in the theme of, podcast with BackTracks being like looking at, kind of the Comeup Story. I'm super curious, like what do you guys all do now? And where did everybody make their first $1,000 online?
Right now, I'm basically working on a few different software projects and then software development agency. I guess you could kind of say I made my first $1,000 like flipping shoes online, but that was again a little bit in person as well. I was getting the shoes in person. But if you want to talk like purely online, it was in high ticket sales, remote closing, whatever it is that you want to call it. I was doing that at the very beginning of 2020 before it kind of got crowded. So it was a lot easier to get clients back then.
Yeah, I made my first 1,000 online also, same flipping stuff on eBay.
Mine was my first dropshipping store. Started dropshipping in like 2016, 2017. That was my first 1,000, and I learned everything else from there.
Bro, how old were you when you made your first 1,000 dropshipping?
I was 15, 16 maybe. Like using my mom's social security number. Thanks, Mom. I was young and I had to make it work. $1,000 was a lot. I went a lot further at 16 than it is now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, month 2, you made 30 grand and dropped out of high school your sophomore year.
That's exactly what happened. Yeah. It went month 1. It was like my first store. My first successful store was the one I did 30,000 with. And it was a Valentine's themed store for dropshipping. Rose bears. If you know what rose bears are.
Dude, my buddy was dropshipping those too. And yeah, it was like kind of like what led me down the online money rabbit hole is this guy that I used to play tennis with. Then he put a Shopify screenshot on his story and it was like 270 grand in a month.
Yep.
And I just swipe up and I was like, dude, what are you doing?
Yeah.
and he explained like what dropshipping was to me, and then like I felt horrible at dropshipping.
Yeah.
I like burnt all my money on Facebook ads with the most atrocious ads in story.
Same, bro.
But it was fun because like the way that he explained it made it like seem so easy. 'Cause he was doing the roast beers. So he was like, dude, I just get these for like $3, sell
Yeah.
20, did 270K. I'm like, what? Like I was like literally like I remember like hitting like turning on the ad campaign for review and like going to bed. I was like, dude, I'm gonna wake up and like it's gonna be grand or something. Like, and yeah, there was no money there. I proceeded to like blow all the money I made reselling.
100%.
I got my Facebook ad account clipped within 3 days because I tried making "Don't Tread on Me" COVID masks. Apparently, very not allowed.
No, not during that time for sure. I think that Rose Bear, like that time period, so many people got started on like that drop shipping wave in like 2016 to 2018 was like the wave that started, like the biggest people in e-com right now started at that time.
There were only 2 products that I ever finally got sales with drop shipping, and I think one store was like a little profitable. One was like a Galaxy Rose that I sold during like around Christmas time, but the other one was like it was like this like little like disco ball that you plugged into your phone, and then it like was like a disco. And I kind of like had this epiphany. I was like, I'm like doing all this like marketing. I like paid a few like theme pages on Instagram, but I was like having them make like very like obvious ads, and so I was like, I just need to make something that like is a meme.
Yeah.
And so like I made a meme out of this like product, and then I like had a meme page posted, so it actually made much more sense. It was like the first time that I started to like figure out marketing a little bit, and I think I paid the guy like $100, and it brought back like 300 in sales. So I was like losing it, but so I think that was like break even. Like, yeah,
I think it's interesting, like all of it. It's like you just kind of throw shit at the wall. Yeah. It's like something cracks or something clicks in one way or another, and it's it adds up to what everybody's done now. It's like, oh shit, it really does compound. I'm so curious, like just thinking about like, we've got a lot of Wi-Fi wealth in this room right now. Casey, I think you're the oldest one here at 25.
We're both 26, right?
There we go.
I'm 23.
You're 23? Damn, I thought you were 26, bro.
No, I'm 23.
Sheesh, all right, I'm the oldest. I'm 26.
Okay, come on, Grandpa, let's go. I'm super curious, like that feeling of like making your first $1,000. What would have that been like 6, 7, 8 years ago for you? I don't know how long ago it was for you guys. How does that stack up to like however much money you guys are making a month now? Like, how did that feeling of $1,000 compare to the feeling of like, look at your account now? It's like, oh, we did 150K this month or 200K this month. It's like, okay.
All right, I guess I'm the one with the gray hairs here, so I'll answer first. Probably made my first 1,000 a month online when I was like 15. If I had to guess, just selling stuff off like Craigslist, Facebook stuff. It was cool. Like you're kind of not balling when you're 15 if you can make a grand. Like I used to work on a farm. When I was 15, I was working on a farm for $7 an hour cash. I don't remember what that felt like, but I've often said, and I bet this is going to be true for the rest of my life. The richest I ever felt was when my business went from 3K a month top line. So that wasn't even what I was taking home. It was just revenue, 3K to 8K. In a single month, it went from $3,000 a month where I'm like barely making enough to pay rent. I was still sleeping on a couch back then to like try to build the business to a month later, I was doing $8,000 a month. And I was like, more than I was making at the job and I quit do this full time after everything. And now I make significantly more than that. And still, dude, going from 3K to 8K in a single month is the richest I've ever felt and probably ever will feel.
I remember I quit my job. I had like started a website and PPC agency. And I quit my job and I like said, fuck it, I'm going to go live in Greece and like spend all of my life like living in Greece, like not good entrepreneurship move. But I remember I was staying at a hostel in Santorini Island. It was like $32 a night at this hostel. I'm like just trying to make it, bro. I'd like sit at a restaurant for like 6 hours and just be on my laptop. Like no idea what I was doing. And I signed a PPC and website client for $5K up front and then $2,500 a month on PPC campaign. And I was like, oh my gosh, I finally made it. Like I'd done like some small deals before that, but that was like my moment. I was like, oh, this is a business now. Like never forget that moment.
I would say it was also probably around like anywhere between $5,000 to $10,000 a month. Probably a little bit closer to 10 because like you said, like $5,000 a month top line, you're really not paying yourself much at all. For like around $10,000 a month, like when I just moved to Miami, I was like paying myself enough to live there, and I wasn't balling in Miami at all. Like I lived downtown in like a very affordable. Like my first apartment was $2,600 a month for a 2-bed. Then it was like $1,300 a person. Like spent a little bit of money on food, a little bit of fun. That was about it. That was like when I felt like things were like awesome.
The question you originally asked, like that feeling of $1,000 when I first made it at 15, that was probably the richest I ever felt. Like that was like, I remember when I started making money online, when it was Shopify, and I was seeing the bars go up, and I was seeing the spike, it just felt like nothing else could get in the way. Which, like, obviously I failed after that, and I failed many times more, but it was like the proof of concept was like the feeling for me, like, all right, I made money online, I don't ever have to go back. And so, like, I don't know if y'all had like the similar experience, but like once I realized, okay, I don't have to go this 9 to 5, I don't have to go to college, like I can, if I've done it somewhat here, I can continue to replicate and do more and do more. And that was the feeling of like success for me. I was like, oh, I'll be okay. Like if it's 10K a month right now and it's 15 in a year from now, I'm still paying my bills, I'm still happy, I'm still making money. That's like the first milestone where I feel like you feel like financial freedom is there, but to know you can do it again is.
What's the most you guys have ever lost in like a month or like on a venture or something?
Mine's probably only like, I've lost 50K in a month, like, which was definitely sad, but that's probably my biggest loss. It was a really bad Amazon month, to be honest with you. Just like laying it out straight. It was, I had spent like $130,000 a month in inventory. And it was like right as I was scaling up in my Amazon, and it was Amazon syndrome. So you're just like wanting the orange bars. And then if one listing goes bad, like I went really deep. I did what everyone says not to do. I went deep in one product because it was just flying, and that one product just tanked. The price just dropped dramatically. Unforeseeable event, and I literally lost like $40,000. It was like the P&L that month was really sad. I'll say that. Yeah.
I did a growth campaign. We had this client who like had just launched a brand new offer. They had done 3 months of sales, and it was like their first month they did 15K in sales. Their second month was like 25K, and their third month was like 45K cash collected. And they're like, yo, like we just want to go all in on this. So we did this massive growth campaign for their offer. And so we like built up their social following. I think it was like 30,000 followers on 3 different accounts. We like put in this whole setter automation and like put all these people on the campaign. And it just wouldn't work. Like it was, even looking back, I'm like, why the fuck did that go so wrong? But there was like a timing issue. This was like right after COVID had happened. So like stimulus money had dried up. There was a lot of different factors that went into it. And when the dust finally settled on the campaign, we had spent like 85 grand trying to get this campaign off the ground, and there was like nothing to show for it.
Probably it wasn't all like necessarily like in 1 month, but it was probably like a $50,000 L. When I was running Closify, we paid this agency to do this like full like tech build out for us, like CRM and some others softwares that integrate with the CRM, and they charged us $15K up front, build out the CRM without us knowing. Like we knew, they didn't tell us they were subscribing us to all these other softwares on annual plans because they were getting commissions. So they subscribed us to $3,000 a month in annual plans. So like basically then after like a month, we were like, yo, this is like worse than what, like we were literally just using high level before. We're like, this is worse, like less effective. And this costs 15 grand up front and 3 grand a month to run. Like, we're done. Like, we're just going to cancel all this. And then I started like trying to cancel it. And they're like, oh, this is like an annual contract. And so I literally just had to pay 3 grand a month for software that I didn't use for a year.
Mine, I haven't had any huge ones. I just, every year for the past 3 or 4 years, I just always lose 30 grand on something. So I think I've lost it on crypto once, penny stocks twice. Might have been at something else another time. So like, I've never had any like huge losses. I think it's just, every year I lose almost exactly 30 grand on something.
Would you classify yourself as a gambler, bro?
Yeah, without a doubt. The biggest elbow might have been for reselling. I got both my Best Buy accounts clipped. I was making $4,500 to $5K a month off Best Buy. Then they identified that I was a reseller and shut it down, like blackballed me. I couldn't do anything. I tried so much stuff. So like long term, that might have been one of the biggest L's because I was making a steady $4,500, $5,000 a month, completely automated with my VAs in the Philippines. So it took me no time, but now I can't source from Best Buy anymore. That cost me like $5 grand a month.
Yeah. A buddy of mine just got his Kohl's Cash clipped. He had like $9,000 in Kohl's Cash. Just got all clipped. There goes the margins for the month.
So obviously all 3 of you guys are somewhat e-com guys, whether it's private label or flipping, or I guess you're not necessarily an e-com guy, but
I mean, e-com is just like selling stuff online, but yeah, not like a physical product brand.
Yeah. Not a product guy. But I think, you cut your teeth in reselling anyway. So I'm sure you could comment. What do you guys feel like are going to be the big things to focus on when it comes to like online products or even online services or software? Coming out, obviously it's end of 2024 going into Q4. What do you think in the next like year to 3 years people should be focused on?
About like actionable things or like opportunities right now?
Opportunities.
I'm biased for sure, but I would say TikTok Shop. I would say like that's what I do. Being in the space when like Amazon was blowing up, being in the space when like dropshipping was blowing up, the agencies, like this, I think it's better than all of them in my opinion. especially like if you get in within the first year of TikTok shop dropping, they're just subsidizing billions. I mean, literally billions of dollars, to help brands grow. And so I think that's like, if you had to do one actionable thing, it's like, go start a TikTok shop.
That's exactly what I'd pick. Is if you have the money and former e-commerce experience, I would do what Hunter's doing, which is creating an actual brand to sell on TikTok shop. You can also do like multi-channel fulfillment. So also sell it on Amazon, also sell it on Walmart, also sell it on Shopify. If you have nothing, just start a TikTok and get it to 5,000 followers so you're eligible to be an affiliate, and then just start pushing other people's products. We know, we have a bunch of good friends who are clearing 50K a month, a bunch who are clearing 100K a month. Don't touch products, don't own a brand, doesn't cost them anything. They just create content for people. It links it to their product that they're selling, and they just get a good percentage of it whenever it sells. If I literally had nothing, no skills, all I had was an iPhone and internet connection, I'd be creating affiliate content on TikTok shop without question.
And it takes $0. Like, that's the best thing about it, is like, people ask, how do I make my first 5K, 10K? Go become an affiliate. Go make, 3 videos, 5 videos a day, and just post those every single day. And it's like, honestly, there's no way you don't succeed at it. If you're consistent with it. I mean, like you said, we have buddies that like easily do this. And, we were told a story yesterday that one of our buddies knocked out 90 pieces of content in like under an hour, and like edited, filmed everything. And that's his entire week's worth of content in an hour's worth of work. Like,
Yeah, and he's pulling down 50K a month. Right?
every month.
Yeah.
Every
Take home profit on an hour a week of work.
Yeah, I mean, I'm obviously super bullish on the creator space. Really, it doesn't even really matter like what you're doing. If you have an e-com brand, like, you should be focused on hiring these TikTok creators. I think even if you're a software company, you should be hiring creators. So like, yeah, making content as a whole, even building your personal brand online, I think it is your ticket into so many doors. It's like kind of how a lot of us are here even. Content, creators, personal brand, I think that's the opportunity, kind of like the meta.
It's the attention economy, right?
Yeah.
If you can either, number one, get really good at capturing eyeballs, being a creator and affiliate. Number two, like providing something of value, whether it's private label or something you actually design yourself, whether it's software or an info product. It's like either give something of super high value to eyeballs or get really good at creating or catching eyeballs. Boys, what do you guys feel like is something that's just been like completely like I feel like this space has completely changed like 10 years. This e-com space 8 years ago, 10 years ago when I got into it was like pretty autistic. Like there wasn't a lot going on. And now we have like drag and drop builders. We have no code. We've got like all of these integrations. We've got TikTok. TikTok wasn't even a thing when we all got into e-com. Obviously, like Facebook's PPC has gotten crazy. Now we have like Hyros and all of these different integrations, which is so sauce. But what do you feel like is something that still just is like, I guess, like underutilized, underacknowledged, undervalued? Some honorable mentions of things that just haven't been harnessed to their full capability.
I would say this isn't like a specific software, but something that like I can think of software that I use for it. It's like being very data driven. Like, and I know you're saying like what's the difference between 10 years ago and now. I would say like software has enabled us to be a lot more data driven in our decision. And so like for, brand building, it is extremely easy to measure your data, whether it's hooks, whether it's, CTAs, whatever it is, you can measure and track the data on every single thing you're doing. And that allows you to scale very efficiently. 10 years ago, you didn't have the same data to make the informed decisions you have now. Maybe you were going off of views or impressions, but like that doesn't tell you the whole story.
I want to even double click on data one step further of like finances. I feel like most people the average age of a 6-figure or 7-figure earner in our industry is probably like 23 or 22 years old. Very young industry. And it's like most people I talk to are in our industry. It's like they might know their cost. Like, what's your operating expenses? What's your net take home? It's like, what's your capital expenditures? What's your cash flows? And it's like the depth of like understanding the finances behind the business. You're like, thank God we have an accountant that lives in our house. We'd all be in jail. But that's definitely something that I see is still like 10 years ago, people flexed revenue numbers, not profit numbers. And 10 years later, people are still flexing revenue, not profit. And that I just don't think works well.
I think something I've seen a lot in the past few years has been a lot of, especially, not to keep dogging on agencies, but a lot of either solopreneurs, agencies, a lot of people just not running their business like it's a business. I think there's a lot of people who have an offer and they're like, almost to go back to like rich dad, poor dad, they're just self-employed. They're not actually business owners. And so there's no thought about like operations, but even more so, I think longevity. A lot of people don't run businesses. They have offers, and there is a difference. And so a lot of people are just like slinging their offer and running up cash collected to 60K one month, 6K the next. Just spinning the wheel of having an offer, but not having a business. this?
I think if I had to say something that's like underrated that's now starting to become more popular, I would actually say it's having a newsletter. Like I feel like that it's making a really big comeback right now, especially because like Beehive and how good of a job they're doing marketing their platform. But yeah, I think having a newsletter is super underrated because one, it's the only audience that you actually own. You know, Instagram, YouTube, they can all ban us at any point, shut us down. Like they own our followers. Your email list, you own it. Send emails to them as much as you want, but also just like I write probably 3 to 5 newsletters per week, every single week. And I'm on like an 85-week streak or something.
Wow.
Damn.
And it's like writing long form every single day translates into like when I'm making my YouTube videos, when I'm thinking about my reels, when I'm writing copy on a landing page. And so even though like now people are like, oh, like copywriters are going to go away, like ChatGPT, like whatever, like if you can write really well at a high level, like people actually don't realize how nuts of a skill it is. And I think having a newsletter is like a sick way to get better at that and then also own your audience.
Are you business now that, right now we run the biggest reselling community online for people. We run a bunch of others. We're doing even our main offers over 200K a month top line. Started just as an email newsletter list, flipping sneakers that had no monetization strategy. I would just send out every single morning and I would come back, it was a Friday night. I was at a party, University of Cincinnati. I lived near campus, even though I didn't go to the school there. Go there, I can get home at 2 a.m. I'd still be like, I need to write the email for tomorrow. And it would just be a list of every single profitable sneaker that was dropping the next day straight to everyone's inbox, and did that for months with no way to make money on it. And then it's turned into this. I started having no idea how I'd ever make money. It was just, here's every profitable sneaker dropping tomorrow.
I remember Casey and I were ripping cigars in Austin at a cigar bar, and he's like, bro, I need to go write an email right now. And he's like asking me for like percentages and doing math on my phone of like GDP of Amazon and like how you can make money on that. He's just ripping a newsletter at a cigar bar. Like,
That's so funny.
underrated.
Alex, when you're writing your newsletters now, you're at 85 weeks straight. That's insane. Yeah. Are you using any AI now to write?
No,
or
no,
just
no.
off the dome?
No, I don't use any AI, and I don't have anyone like script any of my content or because like, dude, I don't know, maybe this is interesting for the people watching. Like most of your personal brands that are like out there are like literally just like a face that like someone is like they all have script writers. Like none of their content is even from them. Which, like, I'm not even saying that's inherently, like, bad. But for me personally, like, I would feel, like, really, like, inauthentic. It's like, I've never had anyone script my videos. Like, it's always been me. Yeah, I don't use AI. And it's, like, to me, it's, like, my favorite part of my day. Like, every single morning, like, one of the first things I do after, like, get my coffee is I just, like, write my newsletter. And it's, like, a really good way to, like, get me, like, locked into working. And it's, like, therapeutic. Like, I really like it.
Yeah. I'm jealous, dude. I'm so jealous because it's funny because like as a different business owner, it's extremely tedious for me to write copy. I can write scripts for like, my short form content and stuff like that, but even that's hard and AI powered now. I couldn't imagine sitting down every day and writing a newsletter. Like I think it would be so hard for me, especially without using AI. And that's just me being honest. Like like the fact that you have that skill is super valuable. And I'm sure it translates to like everything else that you said.
Yeah.
Do you guys do morning routines?
Yes. So like I'm very Hormozy style where like I think it's like, all right, like fuck your morning routine. Like you don't need a morning routine. But I think a morning, slight routine is kind of okay. Like my morning routine is I get up, I run, and I cold plunge. Like those are my only 2 like checklist items. It's not like I need to do it at this time, at this way. If I don't do, my entire day's messed up. It's just there's check boxes. Like, all right, it needs to get done. And it's preferable to be in the morning.
For me, I have non-negotiables and nice to haves. So I have like 3 non-negotiables, which is like brush my teeth, journal, and pray, which are like, they sound so simple, but it's like, it's 10 to 12 minutes of like very important things for me first thing in the morning. And then after that, nice to haves would be like go and run, do a cold plunge, things that are like conditional about my circumstance, my schedule. Even like before this, I was super anal about working out every day. And then I got knee surgery and suddenly like I couldn't leave my bed. And so I even realized that, okay, physique is even something that's nice to have. It's not non-negotiable. But those 3 things are just mental sharpens for me.
I'm really just like, I used to do like a routine, like when I was in college, like I hired like a performance coach for a while because I was so like obsessed with like my like performance like tennis and just like as a general. I was always like super tired, so I was like, I need to like figure some stuff out. So I did the like not like a full cold shower, but like where you like switch hot and cold. Like what I ended up finding is like it took like 20 minutes. I think it was just like one of those things where it's like you're just making yourself feel good without actually like necessarily adding the inherent benefit. So now it's just like I wake up, I brush my teeth, I go across the street to a coffee shop and I start working.
This is kind of like a piggyback off of that. Do y'all believe it's important to do hard things intentionally? Like,
Yes.
like because for me, I get the whole like, turning the cold like or the water on and off. It's like more of a mental like feel good thing. But at the same time, like I say this every day. I don't like running, and I do not like the cold plunge. Like neither one of them are enjoyable to me, but I do it because it's one of those things where it's like, all right, if I can get in 38-degree water every single morning, I know for the most part, everything I do the rest of the day is going to be relatively easier than that. And it's not really translated as easily as people say it is, but that's just something like I found in my life that helps.
I think you should just be doing the things you know you're supposed to do. And so I'm not going to like go out and like, if I have a bunch of stuff to do during the day, I'm not going to go run 15 miles just because it sucks. And
For sure.
like, cool, this is going to make me harder. I'm just like,
sure.
cool. Like if I just know I'm supposed to do this, I should just do it. And then if that's a tool that helps you, it helps you.
That's discipline though. So like that you definitely trained that because like your average human being isn't that disciplined, which I think is like discipline's definitely a trainable thing. And after years of experience, entrepreneurs kind of develop discipline because there's no one holding your hand saying our daily life is a concept of discipline. But at the same time, like I think there are things to help sharpen that discipline.
Well, and it's self-integrity, right? It's like, are you following through what you said you wanted for your life?
That's exactly what I was saying. It's just keeping your promises to yourself. It's like even like something that I struggle with is like snoozing. Like I'm be the first to say like I'm guilty of that. It's like right, how many times like when you go to bed you're like feeling like super motivated at night, you're like I'm gonna wake up early tomorrow, and then like the alarm goes off and you're like not shut, I'm going back to bed. And it's like every single time I snooze, like I'm 100% less productive that day because you already broke like the first promise with yourself that day. Whereas like if I actually do get out of bed, no snooze, it's like wow, like I kept that first promise to myself, and I'll be like way more productive.
For sure.
Do you ever have to stop snoozing? Like, do you have something that you do that you know if you do this, you're not gonna
Yeah,
snooze?
I have to like literally like who's the guy that says like he kicks the sheets off? I don't do
That's
that.
Brad Crowd.
Yeah, that guy.
He's like a real life homie.
Yeah.
Real life
Yeah,
homie.
but it's like
Brad.
I don't like actually do it, but like get up and like the first thing that I have to do is like I just like go like splash a little bit of water on my face just to like wake myself up. As long as I do that, like I'm not gonna like go back to bed. Like as long as I get up and I go splash some water on my face, like I'm not gonna go back to bed.
Harry, do we tell him our hack for making sure that we get everything done we're supposed to be getting done?
Absolutely.
All right. So
Yeah, our hack at the house. So we've got 6 guys in the house.
all
And
business owners.
all business owners. And the rule is if you say you're going to get up at a certain time and you're not out of your room by that time, you get tased. So we've got police grade tasers and open door policy. So if it's if Casey's like, I'm up at 6 and I'm like, I'm up at 6, we both have a taser. If someone's not out of the room at 6, it's free tase.
And if you lock your door, it's a taste too.
Yeah. So there's no way to avoid your integrity. Talk about like, what do you guys feel like? Cause I feel like there's a lot of things that, you know, it feels good to do, but doesn't really contribute to any level of productivity. What do you guys feel like are some of these things that just as like this younger entrepreneur, make money online guys, like what do you feel like we've either overemphasized or over optimized? We're talking about like using ChatGPT to write your newsletter or like using a script writer when you're just talking on camera. What do you guys feel like are some of these things that we've taken maybe too far?
Almost everything in our day-to-day, like at least me, I'm very used to having things automated and like taken off my hands, like virtual assistants and stuff like that. So it's something that I think like a lot of us have become guilty of is like the day-to-day tasks delegating too much. The younger people delegate too quickly. So like they don't know the ins of the business. They don't understand what's going on. And so they're delegating before they've mastered the skill. It's something I see a lot of people do too early. It's just delegation. Like it's important to delegate, but don't delegate before you've mastered.
For sure.
The thing that I don't like, and I was guilty of this when I started, is I think I like Gary Vee. I think some of like the Gary Vee kind of like work your face off type of thing gets like over glamorized. Like something that I hate is like when business owners, and especially like I'll see these videos online where they want to like brag about working like 12, 14, 16-hour days. And I'm like, like what could you actually possibly be doing for 16 hours a day? Like I actually don't know how like I could work 16 hours per day. And then 2, it's like, especially if you say you're making all this money, how is it that you're having to work 16 hours per day and you're not able to delegate? Like, and then 3, like, again, unless you're trying to build the next Amazon, the next Google, like the next Tesla, and you're like a psycho, like Elon, like sleeping in his office, like isn't the point of business to like literally be able to like enjoy your life, to be able to like have time freedom, location freedom? So I don't know. I just think that's like the grind phase of like, let me go monk mode and let me like cut off my hometown friends and let me never have fun. I'm just going to work 16, 18 hours a day. It's like, dude, go outside and touch some grass.
Yeah.
Like you got to enjoy life too.
I feel like unless something is literally make or break and you're like on brink of a disaster,
Right.
like wake up and realize that you're being a slave.
Right.
It's like you've built a business that you cannot.
It's like you're getting right back on the same hamster wheel that you were trying to avoid, just a different one.
I think it's also, and I guess some of us like being personalities in e-com online or whatever. It's like you see it everywhere. It's like it almost turns kids into characters, where it's like, okay, cool, you just quit your job because you wanted to have time freedom, location freedom,
Right.
And then you hop on social media and you see what the people who are actually making money are. And it's like, all right, cool. Now I need a date just. Now I need a Ferrari. Now I need like,
For sure.
all right, cool. We're going to the club or like whatever. It's like, it almost turns you into a character of being told what you want. When really you can just like run a business, live wherever you want, do whatever you like. You can just be who you were before and now just do the business that you have. Yeah. And I feel like it almost sends the message that like you now like need to, like become an e-com bro.
No, it's real. I was gonna say like one of the things that bothers me the most is like the over materialization of like everybody's focused on, you know, followers and cars and watches and all these things. I met a e-com guy. He runs a high ticket info product, and he lives in a cabin in the middle of the woods. It's like an hour and a half from the closest town, and the town is like 2 or 3 hours away from the closest city. And he's making 6 figures a month with Starlink Wi-Fi in a cabin in the woods. And he's like driving a mid-90s piece of shit Jeep, and like has nothing of material value, but like millions in the bank. And I was like, wait a second, is this actually like it completely, because for so long, right? It's like the model that we're given is like, oh, have these things and you're only successful if you have X, Y, and Z. And it's like, wait, actually, like, is that actually what we're here to do?
I'll hit you with one too, which is you don't need to like over glorify that either, in terms of like it's just whatever you want. Where it's like if you are just in it for the car and the watch or whatever, like cool. Like that's not like that's not my like I have the car, I have the watch. I wouldn't care that much if I lost it. I'd care if I lost the business, but also like you can just be the person you were before you did all the e-com stuff, and now just like this is your job and everything else is just your life.
And there's, in my opinion, there's easier ways to make $10,000 a month and buy a Rolex. Like 100%. If I know people that make their first 10 and spend 9 on the Rolex, and then they're back the next month trying to pay their bills. And it's like, dude, you can go get a car job or salesman job or whatever. Like you can do a million other things to make the money to afford a Rolex. You don't need to, you don't need to do e-com like that.
That's valid.
Go ahead.
I do think sales is probably the easiest 10K. Any kind of sales. Like if you're just in sales, it's probably the number one skill set to make fast money.
Most overrated part of running your own business or having money, and most underrated part.
Overrated part is, I feel like the most overrated part for me is like the expectation of like what having money means, of like other people asking you for money, asking for jobs, feeling some kind of pressure to either spend the money or to show off the money. Like, especially in this industry, I do feel some degree of like, oh, I need a Rolex, or, oh, I need to, do these things or have this social media. I feel like that's the most like overrated thing. I think the most underrated thing is being able to just like take a trip whenever you want.
Yeah, overrated for me would be having kind of what you said, like the expectations to support the people around you almost. Like the expectations to help the buddy from high school, or the expectations to, hold your friend accountable because he wants to start an online business or whatever. Like that's definitely, an overrated spot. And then like obviously the Rolex, like everyone wants, like you feel like if you're an econ guy or you're in like online money and you don't have a supercar, if you don't have a Rolex, if you don't live in Miami or Brickell, like
downtown,
like you didn't make it.
You're just describing Alex's life.
Oh wait, sorry, but you made it. No, I'm just saying like that is the epiphany of what people think it's like online. But like Alex, you still work your ass off. Like you still get the work done, and people expect the glamorous without the work. Yeah. That's probably the most overrated part.
Underrated.
Oh, underrated? The ability to not care about impulse decisions, like impulse buys, the impulse trips, the things things you used to worry about, the food, the whatever. Like that's probably the most underrated.
Yeah. I mean, I'll start with underrated. That's exactly what mine was. It's just whenever an expense comes up, whether it's like a repair on a car, it's going out with people, like even if it's what would years ago have been like we went out with the WAP team the other night, we got a table, it cost like $3,000 and something, like is what it is. Like could never have done that 3 years ago. So it's just spending money within reason. You just don't have to think about it. And that's by far the best. Like the best part of having money is not thinking about money. Most overrated part, maybe it's because I don't live in Miami or like New York or LA. I see so many, and I talk to so many of them too. Like being online, being on Twitter. It's like, I know so many guys who think that like if they have money, they'll get girls. And not a single girl you actually want cares. No. Yeah. Like you should be like doing well at your business. Like there needs to be a minimum, but like if she actually, like if it moves the needle, whether you're making like 8K or 80K, like stay away.
Yeah.
There's so many dudes who like think that like as soon as they make 6 figures in a month and like get a car and get a dude, bro, your girl can't even like pronounce the name of like in AP. Ask her to pronounce the whole thing. She can't do it. Like she does not care.
Yo, like,
And I know so many people who think that like that will change.
that's even like Hunter's wife is talking about buying the Audi R8
Yeah.
instead of like the
Yeah.
right woman actually
Yeah,
like,
bro.
oh, he drives a Lambo. That might be a red flag versus
Exactly.
yeah.
I would be broke without my wife. Like, and I say that Tim, our other buddy that's married, he says the same thing. Like, a good girl keeps you wealthy. A good girl keeps you on the right path. And like, my wife runs the business with me. And like, she was with me when we were broke, when we've been wealthy, when we've been middle class. You know, it's been like all the way around.
So huge.
Over under.
I think overrated, or I guess maybe it's just like maybe not overrated, but like a hard part about it is like managing the emotional roller coaster of like your income fluctuates a lot. And that's like whenever someone says they do X amount a month, it's like, do you do it per month recurring or did you do it 1 month?
Yes.
Cause like it fluctuates a lot. So like something that like luckily I had really good people around me when I was like running Closes5. It was like something that I just paid myself the exact same amount every single month. Didn't matter if we had an insane record month or a horrible month. I paid myself the same, and it just that like kept me like balanced rather than be like, oh my gosh, I'm over top on the moon this month. Or then if we had a bad month, if I would like feel awful. So I feel like that's something that a lot of people won't really talk about is like, it is like an emotional roller coaster. And so you have to get really good at like managing those emotions. Underrated, I agree with what you guys said so far. So I'll say something different. It's always just like the good that you can do. Like little things like picking up lunch for your friends, dinner for your friends, like one of your friends, like, I don't know, like fly them out to like for a trip. Like I would always fly my friends out to Miami, you know, giving people on the street money if they need it or getting them a meal, you know, like utilizing your money for actually some good rather than buying all the dumb shit that people glamorize, like actually trying to do some good. I think that's like the most underrated part. Like it's pretty sweet when you can like, you know, utilize a little bit of money or whatever about money, like actually like, you know, help someone.
We had Casey and I had at least for me, oh my God, I'm fucking rich moment. This is probably a month ago where we're hanging out. It was at Bible study. We're like, what if we gave cigarettes and beer to homeless people? Like, you know, meet them where they are. And so we ended up getting like 65 sandwiches, like BLT sandwiches, a bunch of like, I think it was like 7 or 8 packs of cigarettes and I think probably 10 cases of beer. And we just drove around in 2 cars and just handed out cigarettes, beer, and sandwiches to homeless people. And that was like one of those moments, like being able to impulse do that within like 48 hours of saying like, oh, that'd be fun to do versus like the massive action that entrepreneurs already take and just applying that towards doing good things.
Right. Yeah. Same one. Not to like put ourselves on blast. Like we had another one who was like going to get evicted. And it's like, I think they were like, they needed a month between apartments. So it was like, cool. It's like, we'll just get an apartment for you for the month.
Yeah.
Like, is what it is. And like, those cool thing, like, it's just nice to be able to do that. Like, and not like, I guess like it's more sacrificial if you do have to think about it in a way, but like, it is nice for it just to be like you need a place, I'll get you a place.
Game changing moment. I heard this story of a friend who like their company, got like shut down or something and there were some legal battles going on, but they had built up a really good community and network. And like, this is a middle-aged person in probably 30s or 40s and they're married and they have kids. And one of their friends who's super successful was like, oh, just like go use our beach house. We're not going to be there for the next 3 months. Like, well, you sort all this out and you guys are like kind of watching your pockets. Like, just go use the beach house. Yeah. And I'm like, that's, I think, what it's about is being able to support people. Yeah. Crazy stuff.
But how important is network? Like because of that, like because that he had the network, he was able to do that. I feel like that's a super underrated thing. It's like the network you gain when you're in this space or any space, like when you're around like-minded individuals, you build a network where they're just willing to lend a hand no matter what, or help you on like a random night. Like last night we were up till, 12 o'clock working on things. And if I had a random question, I was able to ask you, like, even though it's not like a trade for trade thing, it's like a network.
I've been saying for the past like 3 years, my saying is like the circle is the secret. Like if you can get in the circle, you'll be good.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, bro. My entire life changed. My bid, like, I'd still be in an office in Ohio if I didn't send like one DM on Twitter. Or just someone. And the only reason it was that one DM was because I sent like 100 and just one person responded.
Yeah, I very similar story. Like, there's been times that, like, honestly, same thing. Like, one DM led to a business partner that was probably one of the most influential people for me.
TikTok shop was someone that had ran Shopify stores, had ran successful TikTok shop stores very early on. And it was just a random cold DM. Like, did not expect him to respond. And I hit up like 40 people that same night. Only one that responded. And it ended up working out in my favor. And like, is the reason why I have a successful brand on TikTok shop, I'd say. All about a cold DM. So send y'all's cold DMs. Gary V is right about something. Gary V.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you know,
Absolutely.
yeah.
How do you think you can set? So we all know seems like we all have those stories where like a single DM, a single moment is what his.
Stupid, sending a cold DM, or, you know, being open about, you know, vulnerable. Cause like, no matter how you look at it, when you send a DM, you are kind of in a vulnerable stage because you're reaching out to someone unless you're giving them some kind of value, they hold the cards. And so I'd say like not caring, like just doing the outreach, doing the task.
Yeah, when people are DMing, the people are really, really bad at cold outreach.
It's bad.
Like, and I don't say that to like, you know, be rude, but they're always asking for something or they're offering you something for free, but like sure, like that could be a good way, but it's like Hormozy said this, like we don't want free people, like we want the best people and we want to pay them.
Yeah.
But so it's like how mine happened was like, I never asked him for anything. I was just like, hey dude, like I genuinely really appreciate like your content. Like this podcast that you went on, like really changed things for me. Like, thank you. And he was just always nice and he'd respond. And like this took like probably 6 or 9 months. I would just DM him every now and again, kind of update. And I would always like tie it back to like something I got from his free content.
Yeah.
And then eventually I was like, dude, after watching it's Luca Nets. And, if you guys know him, like savage. And it was like his podcast with Scott Hilsey. And I was like, dude, after I watched that podcast, it's like, you know, 9 months, a year later, it's like, I've cracked my first like, you know, little bit of money. And now I was like, I'm working on this new company called Closeify. It's a hiring platform for sales reps. And he was like, tell me more about that. And like, then he was like, I want to be a part of this. Like, call me. And I was like, dude, what? And so then I'm on the phone and he's like, yeah, let's run this up. This is a really good idea. And then he's like, he's like, are you still in school? And I was like, yeah. He's like, I'm not coming on board with you to go to math class. Like, I drop out of school. And then I'm in Ohio. He calls me. He's like, are you still in Ohio? Like, how soon can you get to Miami? Like, I book a ticket the next day. I go visit the next week. I sign a lease. Wow. So it's like the entire chain of events happened because of like that DM. That's you know, and I nurtured that relationship over DM for like 9 months. Like I could like literally like pull it up and like show. Like it literally took like probably 9 months, maybe even a year.
And it's from you like appreciating them, acknowledging them.
Yeah, I was literally just like, dude, like I never once asked for anything. I was like, dude, like you are really helping me. Like I was super genuine. Like I really appreciate it. And to this day, he's probably the most influential person that's like taught me the most about business.
Wow. That's awesome.
Something that you said, Alex, that stuck out to me that I just want to emphasize is like you pay yourself a salary to deal with like the emotional fluctuation of like the ups and downs in businesses.
Yeah.
And this is like, I was thinking about it of like, why do all these early, mid, late 20-year-old entrepreneurs like emphasize routine so much? And I think like the emphasis on like routine or like the productivity hacks is like, cause people are craving stability, especially like psychological stability in an industry that has like super dramatic ups and downs.
Yeah.
So like the thing that I was thinking about is like creating stability in your life, especially like financially or like within time. I mean, a lot of us travel once a week or at least a couple times a month and it's always chaotic. But I just want to ask to kind of wrap things up of like, how do you guys all create stability in your lives? And like, how do you guys prioritize that? Cause it's something I've seen is like essential for growth is feeling calm about things.
Yeah. I just do a few things. Like I always make sure that I do stuff that I enjoy every single day. So like for me, I really do enjoy my runs now, actually. So it's like when I get to go run, it's like, to me, it's very therapeutic, honestly. Going to the gym, playing either pickleball or tennis almost every single day. Like I think it's important to do the things that like you used to like when you were young. Even if it's like literally like, dude, I'll just like go over to my friend's apartment or they'll come over to mine, we'll just watch a movie like on a random weekday. Like
So good.
just like doing like little things that you used to do as a kid. Like I feel like everyone acts like they have to be like some like adult, like I don't know, like they just like leave all the things that they used to like growing up. It's like, dude, you don't have to like grow up and be like what you think an adult's supposed to be. Like I'm 23 and I'm like still love to do all the same things I did when I was like in high school. Just like kicking with my friends, play tennis, play pickleball, go get a milkshake. Like doesn't matter, dude.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah. I think to add to the stability, like living below your means is super huge. Like a lot of, Wi-Fi money guys, they want to have a lavish life. And so if you if your budget, if you're getting paid 10K a month, like if that's what you're paying yourself, do not go live that lavish life. Like you can do what you want, right? But like if you're looking for stability, odds are you need to have a $2,000 a month payment or house payment. You need to have, $500 car. You need to be able to afford that comfortably instead of trying to live the lavish life of above your means.
Big facts.
No.
Yeah, same. I mean, everything Alex said where it's like, dude, we all got into this just so we could just be kids with money.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I don't care about like the going out. Like I have the car and it's fun. Like I just like being able to do like the dumbest things with my friend. Like we wanted to play Call of Duty Zombies like a little bit ago and we didn't have an extra TV. So we just roll up to Walmart and I just buy a flat screen right there. Like that is what like we got into this for, just so we could play zombies. I think like the other ones just to hit is like, just like being grounded with like both, fitness is one, where it's just like hitting the gym, being consistent, like you're never really struggling the weights. And then like faith as well, where it's like I'm a Christian, like we're every single morning, me and the guys in the house are like in prayer, like Bible study together at 8 a.m. Church Sunday, Bible study Monday. I meet up with a guy every Tuesday, hang with people Wednesday, like just being like super grounded in that too. And remembering like 100 years, it's not going to matter how much money I made. It's not going to matter what I built, bro. It's just, who I did life with and who I was as a person.
I think one of the things I'm the most scared of is like getting to the point where I define success with whatever financials or relationships in my life and like being dead inside, like not having access to that kid or feeling trapped by what I'm doing. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. Well, that's all for today. Let's go ahead and wrap, but thank you guys for watching. Do you guys have any closing notes?
No. Thanks, WAP. Shout out WAP.
Thanks, WAP.
Social links in bio.
Yeah. We'll put all the IGs above everybody's heads. So,
Sweet.
check that.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.